Before I get into this video, which I want to try to take very seriously, I figured that I would lighten the mood with a word from our sponsors. Take it away, guys. Well, thank you, Johnny. Today's episode is brought to you by whatever the hell this is, Adirondack Lemon Lime Seltzer. Why not polar, you ask? Because this shit was on sale. And now, back to our regularly scheduled program. Oh shit, it's even color? Badass. Hang on just a second. Let me wet the old whistle. Yep, definitely on sale. At least it's still got some fizz. Let me break this down for everybody that doesn't know the whole story. Let me first start with a history lesson because I love to do these things. But by the way, this isn't a wrestling video, so if that's like the whole reason you came here, sorry. But this is actually like a real-life situation video, and I actually want some feedback and comments on it. If that's, not your realm and you're not comfortable doing that, then don't do it. If I say the name Lance Armstrong, what do you guys think about? Think about some guy pedaling a bicycle, right? Yeah, usually. That's what he did. You also think, like, spokesperson, perhaps? Yeah, I would think that, too. I don't know the whole hell of a lot about Lance Armstrong, but I know enough to know that he was a cancer survivor. Thus, all the wristbands that all his legions of fans wore whenever he did all those, bike races, Tour de France and everything else. Toured the whole world on the back of a bicycle. But that's what he was. He was a cyclist. He was a professional athlete. And like every other professional athlete, if you're good at something, there are those out there that would rather just cast stones at you and try to tear you down. In this particular scenario, we have the USADA. For everybody that doesn't know what that is, I believe that's the Anti-Doping Association or something like that for the United States. They're testing to make sure that there were no foul play involved, and they test for steroids and all that other kind of use in professional sports. They're the same ones that got behind the steroid trials in baseball, from what I believe and what I know. Now, if I'm wrong about that, so be it, but I'm pretty sure they're the ones that brought up the thing against MLB, against guys like Jose Canseco and Mark McGuire and all them. Sammy Sosa, even, if you guys remember all that jazz from years ago. They just had the Olympics not all that long ago. And, the people were getting disqualified for using the steroids and performance-enhancing drugs there. This is something that professional sports take very seriously. But then you have a guy like Lance Armstrong, who fought off cancer and then came back, and then in his career has won, I believe, 7 major Tour de France titles and other, millions of cycling races that he was in, did very well, and whatever. My whole point is not the guilt of whether or not he did this, because at this point, so many other people have done this. I mean, look at Randy Orton in professional wrestling. He's failed the fucking wellness policy, I don't know how many times, and yet they continue to let him be on top. It's ridiculous. Performance-enhancing fucking shit has been around since the beginning of, when sports became professional, because people had to be better and bigger and stronger and whatever. Am I saying that you should do it legit? Yeah, I believe that, but in this case, this is a guy that had cancer and fought back from it. How many people do you know that have cancer that actually fight back from it? It's really not a big number, because that's why we have all this support cancer research and share this on your Facebook status if you know a person that's died from cancer. And if you have early detection, yes, there's a big survival rate. But if not, there's a whole shitload of people that die from cancer. They're doing it every day, every month, every year. You know, the message that was behind Lance Armstrong, the fact that you can have cancer and then come back, kick its ass, and then aspire to be an awesome professional athlete. We're losing that message now because he apparently took a performance-enhancing drug. From the article that I read in my local paper, they're calling this a witch hunt because the USADA has nothing more than just insinuation and throwing stones. They don't have any real proof. And that was what somebody from Lance Armstrong's, I guess, PR, that was the quote they used. It was a modern-day witch hunt, just looking for the next target. Apparently they weren't happy enough, you know, when Michael Phelps was, you know, found out that he was smoking weed. If you can win gold medals and you can win Tour de France's and you're essentially the best in the world at what you do, everybody wants to come at you and they're jealous. And okay, so you took a performance enhancing thing. He had fucking cancer, guys. He probably wasted down to a skeleton and a fragile shell of a man and then had to build all that muscle to get back. I don't know how many of us have, you know, enough money to get a nice diet going and enough protein to build all that muscle to come back, especially after cancer. I mean, shit, you get a cold for fucking a week and you're out, man. You're out of the gym. You know how hard it is to get back in it? Maybe some of us don't because we live in our mother's basement. But yes, even I did that back in the day. And it's tough, you know? Even if you just jog, right? You know, you just run around town. You try to do a mile or whatever every day. What happens if you're real sick? You get the flu. You're out for like, I don't know, 4 or 5 days on your ass. Can't do it. And then that first jog after that, right? You're so sluggish. You can't understand why. You just got no energy. Even the slightest illness really screws with your ability to perform. Let alone cancer with a guy like Lance Armstrong. This guy stood for something. He was an inspiration to people. You know, not only was he the symbol of hope for people that have cancer, that they can come back and whip its butt and, you know, get better, but that they can achieve things beyond just surviving cancer, that they can still go out and do the same shit they were doing beforehand. And this was a great message. And this is what, like, you know, kids and shit need to look up to. To me, this seems like bullying tactics on the part of the USADA. Who can they frame next so that they look better? Now, while I get that professional sports and all that need to establish, you know, that they have integrity and that it's not done with people that are doping out and abusing the system, you don't think that you could have given this guy his due? You're going to strip him and erase his history of winning all these titles? Even if the guy shot juice every day, he survived cancer. You don't think that that message out there is more important than his record? And that's what I don't get about this whole thing. I'm not saying that Lance Armstrong is guilty or not guilty because I don't fucking know the facts. But from what I do know, a lot of people looked up to this guy, and you're just gonna like shit on that whole thing? Lance Armstrong was a hero to these people. You know, how many, like, you know, people idolize basketball players or football players or whatever, you know, and they're not checked for the performance-enhancing drugs. They're just given bigger contracts and sneaker deals so they can sell them on TV. It's almost insulting to me that they're going to do this to this guy who stood for something. You know, when Michael Phelps, they found out that he was smoking weed and doing drugs and stuff, right? But he still won all those gold medals. Did he have to surrender the gold medal? No, he still got them. He just had to publicly apologize. So why Lance Armstrong, an older man that retired, I believe over a year ago, why are you going to take that away from him? His whole career has to go because of this? That doesn't make any sense. Anyway, I would like to know people's opinion on this. If you don't know the whole story, I'm sure it's blowing up all over the internet by now. I'm going to do some more, fact checking and research myself. But all I did was read an article in my local paper. It was about yay big, maybe by yay long, and I definitely need to get my facts straight so that things aren't fuzzy. Otherwise, when things are fuzzy, they look like this, and you can't really make anything out, or like this even, and you think that it's clear, but it's really not. I want people to share their opinions. If you think that, the USADA has to do their job no matter who it is, then explain to me why. Explain to me why that's more important than destroying this person's image. And just saying, yeah, he won that, but he won it the way that he did. I mean, the trial isn't even over yet, and they're already talking about stripping this man of his accomplishments. He's a cancer survivor first and foremost, but he amounted to more than that after he survived cancer. I'm not trying to say that people should be heroes just for surviving cancer, but if you think about it, the odds aren't really on their side. So anybody that does is extremely fortunate. And anybody that can recover to their life, especially if they're a professional athlete after the fact, take Hacksaw Jim Duggan, for example. Nobody bitched if he was using steroids or not after he survived cancer. It doesn't make any fucking sense to me. And there's plenty of people that abuse this system. Look at Triple H on top of the WWE. You don't think he's been shooting roids for years? He never got in trouble? He never had to surrender his championships? What the fuck ever, man. This just kind of pissed me off, and I thought I would share it with everybody else. Please let me know what you think below, or give me a video response to this. And may the force be with you in your basement with your mom.